Onto this now, the country today, marking Women's Day. Government through the sports, arts and culture, as well as the women, youth and persons with disabilities departments are set to lead commemoration events in Pretoria. It was in 1956 when thousands of women marched to the union buildings demanding an end to the past laws. Fast forward to today and questions remain about the continued injustices and inequalities that women still struggle with. Well, let's go to the capital now. That's where we find our reporter, Katleho Sekhotho, who is covering the events for us there. Katleho, good morning to you. So many issues still afflict women today. What do they hope to hear from the president?
A very good morning indeed. Clearly, we are here at the lawns of the Union building, and we will be hearing from the president at about between 12 and 1 o'clock today, hopefully, as we commemorate Women's Day, Women's Month as a whole. And as you rightly put it there, on the 9th of August 1956, 20,000 women strong marched to these very buildings, demanding for the ending of the past laws of that time. But the theme around, this Women's Month is that as much as the women of that time, that's Mum Helen Joseph, Lillian Ngoyi, Rahima Musa, just to name a few who led that march, the things that they fought for then, have all of those things been achieved now. And we know through, the debate that continues to happen, and even the numbers, the statistics that we see in relation to gender-based violence, still many issues still not answered, and still many challenges pervasive in society, and even challenges such as, for example, the killing of whistleblower Babita Deokaran 2 years ago. People still calling for the justice over her death. But we do have with us the MEC for Sports, Arts and Culture in the province of Gauteng to speak to us. Clearly, MEC, thank you so much for giving us your time. MEC, you're here as a department to mark this day. Why was it important for you to be here?
Okay, good morning and thanks for the opportunity. Yeah, you are correct. More than 60 years ago, I think 67 to the day, women marched to the very same place that we are against freedom. There was a new law enacted for forcing women to also carry passbooks. And that is the main thing that they were protesting against, those women. But they also, in their memorandum, were speaking to issues, some of them you raised, that were besetting women and making their lives very difficult. So basically, women wanted emancipation. They wanted equality. So fast forward to 1994, new government, a new dispensation is in place, and the day was declared a holiday. But it was also important that the day must be remembered, hence the reason we're here today. So I want to highlight to you a few of the action that we took as government and as a department as part of our core responsibilities. So one of them is to obviously to honor the historic struggles of women. The second one is we recognize women's contributions to the emancipation of women and children and men generally, and the contribution that women have in building the economy. I'll expatiate on that. We are also promoting gender equality. You spoke about the fact that some women are, their lives have not necessarily improved in as we perceive it. And perceptions can be true sometimes. So we are not going to run away from the truth. I'm a woman myself, you're a woman. We have experiences that we have and they're real. We cannot, pretend that they don't exist. We are also looking at, I spoke to addressing gender-based violence, educating and raising awareness. So part of the core responsibilities that we have as a department is to make sure that the policies that we put in place, remember we are province, we have the power to legislate at the provincial level. So working together with the Premier, actually it was one of the things that he spoke to in the State of the Province address, that as we legislate, we must make sure that all the legislation that we have, including the APPs, they are gender sensitive and they are pro-women. So we have a responsibility on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis rather, to report on what it is that we are doing to support women in business, to support women in education, to support women across the board. So it's a reportable responsibility. So we report on that. I'm not going to talk to all of them here. I think there are about 10. But what is also important to talk to is that we also have a responsibility to challenge stereotypes. As it is right now, part of what we do as a department, we must report on how we support the LGBTQIA+ community. And we cannot be seen to be discriminating against them. We treat them equally like everybody else. So that's another thing that we as women, and we hope that today, not only hope, we make sure that it is reflected in our policies, that we support such people. We are also looking at leading global engagements. So recently, the minister who will be a co-program director with me today, her department was making rounds globally, speaking to women's issues and contributing towards the global policies that are enacted in support of women. So this department, yes, it's sports, arts, culture and recreation, but I want to focus on heritage as well. So this, we have about 7 or 8 commemorative days that we look at, and we must make sure that, we sensitize people around those issues, and we make sure that the young people that come along do not forget where we have been. As we celebrate what women did on that day, but there's an element of education in it as well. So that if young people take the baton and move with it, it must be within context. It must not lose its real meaning. So we have, as a department, the contents of the memorandum that was delivered to Straydom at that time. And it forms part of the core responsibilities that we have as a department, and I spoke to some of them.
Yes. And now, MEC, so many years into democracy, considering the fight that was led in 1956, do you think that there's been a delay, and why so, in making sure that it's not as deeply problematic in some areas, like gender-based violence, as it is now?
Look, yes, there has been a delay. I think we must just, own up to the challenges that we have, because if we don't, we won't be able to solve the problem. The first delay was actually caused by the fact that there were laws in place that we found. And to enact or amend a law takes about 3 years, minimum. Maximum, it will take about 5 years, and the process, it has to go through the NCOP, and it must go to Parliament, whatever. And the other challenge with new laws is that other people who don't agree with it will take it to court, and they'll challenge it. Those things do contribute to unnecessary delays. Yes. But it's part of democracy. We can't deny that. It has to happen. Well, yeah, it does happen. As to whether it has to happen or not, I don't know, but it does happen. So that, unfortunately, contributes to the delay. The other thing that contributes to the delay of emancipation of women is an economy that does not create jobs. If you have many women who do not work, you know that families are going to be disadvantaged. So it has a ripple effect, and it adds to the uncomfortable situation that women find themselves in. But it doesn't mean that we have to say, yes, this is what's happening, and don't do anything about it. Earlier on, I said that the Premier had made it abundantly clear to us as MECs and as the legislation generally that we have the power to legislate. So if at national it takes that long, at provincial level it doesn't take that long. So let's legislate at that level, at least to start with. Obviously, it must speak to existing laws. But if we find that an existing law then is a challenge, then we keep it at provincial level. So that's what we are chasing. We're at our level. If we have a power, it's our locus of control. If we have the power to legislate at that level, let's do it.
Amen. Thank you very much for that, MEC. Xoli, you heard it there from the MEC of Arts, Culture and Recreation in the province of Gauteng, just explaining that what's important is change at a legislative level, and outlining that with women not being economically empowered, then communities can't flourish. And this is what this Women's Day, this Women's month is about, highlighting those challenges and the possible solutions that government can implement.
For us in Pretoria, the seat of government, and that's where President Cyril Ramaphosa will deliver the key message today. Katleho Sekhotho, thank you very much. Well, happy Women's Day to you, wherever you may be in the corners of our country today.